first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for possibly causing divorce in my wife's best friend's marriage? My wife, 31 female, and Amy, 32 female, are best friends for about 15 years. About 2 months ago, Amy gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Me, 34 male, and my wife have 4 children, 3 female, 4 male, and 6 female. So we have been helping Amy and her husband, Jake, 29 male, because we know how hard and stressful the first few months with a newborn can be, specifically because they are first-time parents. My wife planned a girls' night at our house and invited her friends. She does that once a month. When my wife hosts those nights at our place, I usually go out with some of my friends to a nearby bar. Amy and Jake moved to our city around 1 year ago because Amy wanted to stay close to her parents and she had a better job opportunity in our town. Since they moved here, Jake has no family or friends nearby, except me, so I decided to invite him to come with my other friends to the bar. Jake is very shy and reserved. He doesn't talk a lot, but he's a great guy. When we arrived at the bar, I tried to push Jake a little to interact with the other guys, but his answers were always short and simple. And then, I told the rest of the guys that Jake was a first-time father and that his daughter was born 2 months ago. Finally, a conversation that Jake seemed to engage in. The other guys in my friend group are a bit older than me, so most of them are parents. And things were going pretty well until a friend told us that the first time he thought, "Holy crap, I am dad," was when he cut the cord after his wife gave birth. After hearing this, Jake went a bit silent and said that he wasn't present at the delivery room when his wife gave birth. Then he asked us if it was a big of a deal and if he missed a lot not being there. Well, the consensus on the table was that being able to watch our children being delivered to this world is one of the most important moments in the life of a father, and that yes, he did miss a huge thing and that he lost one of the biggest milestones in marriage. After that, Jake went a bit quiet and left shortly after. 2 days later, Jake asks me if he can stay with me for a few days because he needed a bit of a space from Amy. Amy called my wife crying, and she went to our house to talk with her a bit after that. Jake arrived at our home, and that's when he told me that he wanted to be in the delivery room, but with COVID restrictions, only one person was allowed and Amy chose her mom. Apparently, he tried to argue with her, but she was adamant, and in the end, he was not allowed in the birth room. Jake told Amy what he heard at the bar. They got into a big fight, and currently, Jake is considering a divorce. Needless to say, that Amy is furious at me, and my wife is currently giving me the silent treatment. She said that I probably ended their marriage. I feel really bad with this whole thing, especially with the baby in the middle. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Jake is a surgical nurse. He already helped deliver other people's babies. I guess that this adds salt to the wound. Now for the top comments. Everyone sucks here. You and your friends were kind of tactless by continuing to gush about how much he missed out on after you realized he hadn't been there. Guys have successfully fathered for generations without being there at the birth, although I fully support them being there when it's okay with the mother. That said, there's no way this is the one thing that caused divorce. You're married. You know relationships are more complex than that. They have been arguing about this for a long time. He really wanted to be there and Amy chose her mom, and honestly, I get it. Not have being able to watch the birth of my firstborn, that's a huge thing. Info. Why was an entire group of men trying to make this new dad that they just met feel bad? The birth already happened, and he can't go back in time. What was the point of that conversation besides from making him feel insecure, especially when he had just met most of those people? It sounded like he'd made his peace with the struggle of having a child during a pandemic, and the conversation made him second guess. He is not any less of a father for having not witnessed the child's uterine escape. We didn't try to make him feel bad. He asked us about our opinions on the topic, and we answered him. He was trying to make peace with his wife's choice but was struggling. Hearing our thoughts on the matter made him see that he wasn't okay with his wife's choice. Not the a-hole. If this was enough to end their marriage, it can't have been a good one. Yeah, I think this is the main point here. OP ultimately wasn't anywhere near causing the divorce there. Maybe just helping with the final straw. I do think the opinion that it's a consensus, one of the most important moments, is wrong however. It's a personal thing. OP can find it is an extremely important moment for him. Others may not. And that's okay. Not only should a consensus from a handful of guys not be persuading Jake, he sounds young and naive, but it also should not be representing fathers in general. Furthermore, there is definitely no reason for anyone to feel entitled to be in the delivery room unless they are the person giving birth. Even if you believe it was one of the most important moments, you have to accept the priority is never yours as the spectator. Yes, as you all suggested/suspected, there are other problems on their marriage. I just finished talking with Jake, and what a crap show. Jesus freaking Christ. Let's say that my opinion on Amy changed forever in the last hour. He went home to see his daughter and decided to stay there. They are sleeping in separate bedrooms. Honestly, this story was already bad enough, but when he told me the whole thing, I was honestly sick. He honestly didn't deserve any of this, not even a bit. I will try to update in the next few days when they've finished talking and make some hard decisions that should be made. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for my reaction after my husband sold the tea set that my deceased mother gave me? I, 35 female, been married to my husband, 37 male, for 3 years. We live in a rented apartment in a nice neighborhood. My dream has always been to own a house on our own and won't have to pay rent anymore. I'm a physician. My husband is a construction worker. We're doing fine financially, but he's always complaining about me not doing enough even though I make a ton of money, even though I handle all of our 2-year-old daughter's expenses. Food/clothes/toys, etc. I also pay for most of the rent too. It's because he says I'm a physician. I make more. He has a box for his own savings that he keeps in our bedroom that has been sitting there since 2017. I myself have no idea what he's saving for. He always complains that I threw money away whenever I buy new stuff for the apartment. He sold his car, and that resulted in me in getting my own car. Then he threw a fit because of it, basically talking about my salary. He recently started selling stuff via online. Stuff like set of kitchenware that I bought not too long ago, furniture, lamps, etc. When asked about it, he argued that 1. He doesn't make as much as I make, therefore, he had to sell stuff, and 2. I'm a doctor. I have money, I can always buy replacements. I have put up with that until last week, when I came home and my husband told me that he sold a 15-piece European ceramic tea set that my deceased mother gifted me for my wedding online for $255. I was too shocked. I literally yelled at him for touching my tea set and selling it without my consent. He lashed out saying I overreacted because this tea set has been sitting in the cabinet for some time and that we never used it. Said that again, since I make a lot of money, then I can get a better, more modern tea set. But this set had a sentimental value. It was important to me. It's literally the last thing I have from my mother after my siblings treated me poorly and didn't let me have anything. It was personal that he had no right to sell no matter what. He told me that he needed the money to pay someone he owed money to for 2 months and didn't want to come to me for money. When I demanded that he returns the tea set, he said that he'll just pay me $225 from his savings soon, so I just need to drop it. I told him no, and the argument didn't stop. He called me ridiculous for how I reacted, so I took my daughter and went to stay with my dad. I told him what happened, and my husband called and was angry that I told my dad about personal issues after talking to my dad. To answer the question, no, he does not have any drinking nor drug addiction problems. I don't come near that box because he'd tell me to respect his privacy, and that is personal. Not that he's saving to buy a house or something, so I just let him. I never really bothered him about it, but it's true he's definitely hiding something from me and won't even discuss it. Now for the top comments. Damn, you need a lawyer. This guy screams financial abuse. He's making you pay for everything and saving his own stash and then selling your stuff to get more money. Not the a-hole. Protect yourself. Also, he's mad at her for talking to her dad about his abusive behavior because he knows it's not right. He was hoping he could keep gaslighting her into thinking she was the one in the wrong. There are all kinds of abuse at play here. Not the a-hole. I am sorry he did that to you with your prized possession from your mom. Info. Have you started to figure out why he's so desperate for money lately? Your issue isn't about a tea set. It's about what he's doing and who he owes. Because it's pretty obvious the answer to that is the elephant in the room here. No, he just keeps complaining about random issues. Never said that he had a major financial debt or anything. Then wake up and smell the coffee. There was something odd going on here. Could be a relatively small issue, or could be as serious as gambling or drugs. But there is an issue here for which he suddenly and desperately needs money. Come on, he's selling pieces of furniture in your lamps and saying you can buy more? This is not normal behavior. ASAP, you need to figure out what is causing his sudden desperation for cash. Not the a-hole. Your husband has some sort of problem. Whether it's gambling or drugs, you need to find out and fast. He's using his money for something, expecting you to pay for everything, and now he's selling your stuff on top of it so he can use the money he makes from selling your stuff. Something is not okay. Go home, get your valuables, and go back to your parents with your children until you figure out what is going on. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdaughter to stop bringing randoms home? My stepdaughter moved in with us about 6 months ago. She was engaged to her high school sweetheart, found out he was cheating on her, broke up with him, and moved in with my wife and I a few states away from where she was living with her fiancé. My wife was overjoyed that stepdaughter was moving home, but I was adamant that it would not be a permanent situation. I don't have kids of my own, but I've always treated my wife's 3 children as my own as best I can. My wife and I have been together for 10 years. Her children are all in their late 20s to early 30s, and my wife was not married to their father. They were actually high school sweethearts too, and my wife had her children when she was in her late teens and early 20s. When my stepdaughter first moved in, she was obviously upset about what happened and stayed in her room and cried a lot. She quit her job when she decided to move back home, and we didn't push her to get a new one right away. After a couple of months, my wife talked to her about finding a job and getting back on her feet. To her credit, stepdaughter found a job quickly as a bartender, and she's been working a lot. She says it helps her to focus on something other than her failed engagement. However, I started to notice that stepdaughter was bringing men home from the bar at night. Now, I'm no prude, but I'm not fully comfortable with the idea of people I don't know entering my home without my knowledge. I talked with my wife about it and asked her to talk with stepdaughter about it, because I was not okay with what stepdaughter was doing. My wife agreed with me, but not completely. She said stepdaughter is just trying to put herself back out there and that everyone has needs. I said that if stepdaughter wants to feel her needs, she can do that at her own place, but that I don't want random men in my home every weekend. I said it's not just the fact that I don't know these guys, but there's a pandemic going on, and I have tried to be very careful to keep myself and family safe. My wife said she'd talked with stepdaughter, but I wasn't involved in the conversation. The other weekend, as I am having coffee on Saturday morning, stepdaughter and a guy came out of her room and she walks him out of the house. After he leaves, I tell her that we need to talk about this because I will not tolerate her bringing random men into our house anymore. She got mad and told me to stay out of her life and that it's not my business what she does in her bedroom. I told her that as long as her bedroom is in my house, it is my business. I told her that she either follows this very basic rule or she finds her own place. My wife overheard us talking and came in to take her daughter's side. My wife said I was being an a-hole and that what stepdaughter does in her room is not our business. I got mad and told them both that if I find another random guy in my house, there will be consequences. Stepdaughter stormed off into her room, and my wife thinks I way overreacted and should stay away of stepdaughter's life. I told my wife I will stay out of stepdaughter's life when she moves out of my house. Now let's read the top comments. Not the a-hole. Someone bringing random people into your house presents a safety and security risk, pandemic or not. You're being generous and giving her a roof to live under. The least she could do is respect the rules of the owner. You're not banning her from seeing random men. She has the option to go to their place or hotel, so it's perfectly reasonable to just say your house is off limits for that. Preferably their place. Although I'm not sure how living with others affects the risks. I do know it's safer for women to go back to a man's place than to take them to theirs. More killers want to leave the body and mess in someone else's home. I would imagine the same thing is true for hotels. There is a reason I don't bring random men home. My parents would make him breakfast and ask him if I'm pregnant yet, just to embarrass me. Not the a-hole. This might have to be my next step if things don't change. It would be funny if you don't even learn their names and just refer to them by their numbers. Hey, number 6 this month. Nice to meet you. I like that one. I also like the person who DM'd me the idea of having coffee while wearing just a robe and an adult diaper. Not the a-hole. Even if there wasn't a pandemic going on, you shouldn't have to be comfortable with her bringing F-buddies over every weekend. They are strangers, and not all strangers mean well. Her hooking up is risky behavior at best regardless of where she lives, since you never know what kind of guy this person is, especially if the decision on who to pick is made inebriated or drunk. You have every right to want to feel safe in your own home. She's an adult and can get a place of her own if this is what she wants to do. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.